Welcome, everyone. My name is Hakan Adere. I'm a senior technical consultant for SAP Commerce Cloud. And since late 2018, I'm specialized in migrations for the SAP Commerce Cloud. Let's talk about the building process of the CCV2. Before going to the build process, right, let me quickly show you one thing. So this is the Commerce Cloud portal where you interact with the Cloud Automation Engine. You do your environment configurations, right? I quickly want to show you something here. So your platform has a version, right? Like 1905. This is your Commerce Cloud platform version. Also, the automation engine has a version. So sometimes I see that customers just mix these numbers. So there are two versions now, right? One is the Commerce Cloud release, which refers to the version of the Commerce Cloud automation engine. And the other version is the version of your own Commerce Cloud platform. So please do not confuse these two different versions because the versioning system is similar in SAP, right? Based on the year and the month. Sometimes these two systems, right, they might have the same version number or sometimes they might have different version numbers. But this one, this 2006, right, is the version number of the Cloud Automation Engine. And this is the version number of your Commerce Cloud platform. So how does the build process works in CCV2? So what happens is you connect to that cloud portal that I just showed, right? And then you trigger a build. So when you trigger a build, the Cloud Automation Engine directly connects to your Git repository, fetches the custom code, and then it creates the build for you, right? So the build is actually Docker images. And these Docker images then deployed into a Kubernetes environment. So this build platform is your own customer zone. Again, you're not sharing anything, even the builder, right? You're not sharing the builder with any other customers. You have your own builder and you have your own Kubernetes clusters, on servers, right? Which your applications are deployed, right? What you share is this one. So the Cloud Automation Engine, the process engine. So the process engine gives the orders to your builder so that builder can connect to your repository, fetch the custom code, create the platform images, and deploys it to your Kubernetes cluster. So each customer has its own customer zone in the data center, right? And all customers use the same Cloud Automation Engine in that data center, and there is one global cloud portal. So you have the access to the Commerce Cloud portal, and there's also one admin UI for the Cloud Automation Engine, which is only available to the platform support engineers. So you only need to interact with the Commerce Cloud portal to build in CCV2. This is a default development environment setup in CCV2. So it comes with 4 servers, Solar Cloud, Apache servers, Azure SQL database, and Azure Blob Storage. So I want to take some time to talk about it, right? If you are using CCV1, usually what you get is 2 different types of nodes. One is the storefront nodes, and the other one is the back office or admin nodes. So in the admin nodes, you run your back office applications, you run your cron jobs, and sometimes if you have some web services, right, that you expose to any external systems, then you have those web services as well. But in SAP Commerce Cloud, in the public cloud, we have different kind of aspects for different kind of works, right? So what we deliver you 4 different kind of aspects. One is the storefront aspect, is obviously to host your storefront applications, right? And to serve the storefront to your customers. The other one is the back office aspect, where you have your back office application. It may host your smart edit. It may host your CMS cockpits if you are using any kind of a CMS cockpit or a product cockpit. Any kind of legacy cockpit that you're using, you can serve them through back office. And then we have background processing. There is some kind of a typo here. It's not back office processing, it's background processing node. So this background processing node is just there to run cron jobs, business processes, any kind of tasks. So it only runs that, right? It doesn't serve any web applications, right? It's just there to process background jobs. And then we have another aspect, API. And this is for you to serve any kind of web services that you want to expose from your commerce application, right? It could be OCC layer, right? Or if you have any kind of a web service, any custom web service that you want to expose, you can expose through API aspects. As you can see, all these aspects are running on top of a Kubernetes clusters, right? So they're actually containers. So what happens in the previous slides, the builder creates containers for each of these aspects. So it creates the container for the storefront aspect, it creates the container for the back office aspects, it creates the container for the background processing and the API. It also creates containers for the Solar clouds and the Apache servers, right? So why do we create containers, right? So you don't need to worry about anything about Docker management or Kubernetes management, right? Those are abstract to you, right? You don't have to configure anything, or you don't have to worry about anything about it. The only thing I'm talking about Docker images and the Kubernetes is that, so once the builder creates these images, right? The Docker images, very briefly, what they are for those who doesn't know about Docker containers, they are the images of your applications, right? So basically, you create your Docker image and then you deploy it to either to your dev environment or your stage environment or your production environment, and it will be exactly the same thing wherever you deploy it, right? Because Docker containers has all the dependencies, the OS dependencies, the Java versions, everything installed in that container, right? All you need to do is deploy that container into one of your environments, right? So whatever you deploy to dev will be 100% same that you deploy to stage, and it will be the same you deploy to the production environment. The differences between the environments are their configurations in terms of the number of nodes, right? And the local properties configurations, right? Other than that, the images, these container images between environments are the same. So that is the reason why we are talking about Docker and Kubernetes, right? The reason we will talk about more about Kubernetes is regarding to scaling, but you don't need to worry about anything about the container technology or Kubernetes, right? This is just like more like a general information. So yeah, let's go back to the aspects. So we have like 4 different aspects, right? Actually, if you are using JavaScript storefront Spartacus, you will have another kind of an aspect called JS aspect, which is not depicted here. So this slide is actually kind of a bit old. But let's say that you are not using Spartacus, and you're only using the Accelerator storefront, then you have the storefront, or if you want to use this, will be JS storefront. You have the back office, background processing, and the API. The reason for dividing the admin nodes in CCV1 into 3 different nodes, back office, background processing, and API, is basically you don't want to run the background processing job in the same servers that you run the back office applications, right? Maybe you don't want to distribute the processing load between these nodes. And the other reason for the API nodes to be here, right? Let's say that you have these back office applications, but you don't want to expose your back office domains to public, right? Maybe you want to restrict these accesses, right? And you just want to expose the APIs, whatever API that you have, to the API node. So having different kind of aspects will give advantage on performance as well as security, right? The other difference you will see here is the Solar, right? Because in CCV2, we don't use a master and slave. Yet, if you want to use master and slave, you can still use it by opening a ticket and creating a custom configuration for yourself. But by default, we are providing this Solar cloud in CCV2. So what you will get is like a couple of Solar nodes, and then to create the Solar cluster, Solar cloud, right? You actually need to have Zookeeper nodes as well. So we are also providing Zookeeper nodes here. It is not shown here, but you also have the Zookeeper nodes as well. The other difference is there is also Azure SQL database, right? Which is database as a service, and we are using blob storage. So on CCV1 or on your prem environments, right, what you usually have a shared file location, right? So all these servers are sharing the same file location, NFS location in CCV1 or on-prem environments, right? But here we don't have a shared file location. Instead, all these nodes, API nodes, right, they have like temporary disks. They are connected to Azure Blob Storage, which is a REST-based service. On CCV2, you don't have direct access, SSH access to these servers, right? What you will access is the endpoints for all these servers. And you don't have direct access to the database as well. And you don't have direct access to the blob storage. Okay, can we use Azure Blob as SFTP for CCV2 apart from hot folder? No. So Azure Blob doesn't support SFTP, but what you can do, you can have your own SFTP. You can host your own SFTP server. And in that SFTP server, if it's a Linux server, you can mount Azure Blob as a file system into that server, right? And then you can have some kind of a SFTP simulation for Azure Blob. But out of the box, Azure Blob doesn't support SFTP. Okay, let's go to the stage environment setup. As here you see the stage environment setup, and stage environment setup is kind of similar to there, except you have more servers on the storefront and back office. And here we have the production environment. In production environment, you have like multiple servers for each aspect. Thank you everyone for again joining.